Hi, it's Margaret, interview coach from London in the UK, and welcome to my second video in your video tutorial series, You're Hired. In today's video, I'm going to reveal to you the biggest mistakes candidates make when applying for jobs and interviewing. Of course, there are multiple reasons why you might not be getting hired. The manager might be concerned you will eventually take their job, or they are looking for exact copy of a person that left. Perhaps unrealistic job requirements have been written by a person who has no idea about the job. While all of these reasons might be valid, unfortunately many applicants frequently and inadvertently display signs that tell the employer that they're not the best fit for the job. Yes, it's true that there are fewer jobs and there is more competition, but ask yourself, are you doing everything you can? There are a number of reasons why employers might have passed you by. Let me tell you about some of my top reasons why you are not getting hired. Reason number 1, you are dishonest. Any lies you tell in your job search, whether on your CV or in the interview, will come back to haunt you. Use your covering letter to tell your story, focusing on your strengths and accomplishments and explaining any areas of concern if needed. In my 7 years of working as a professional recruiter, I have certainly noticed that whatever is written on a candidate's CV is sometimes heavily embellished. When I start asking probing questions about some specific aspects of the candidate's experience, it sometimes turns out that whatever they claim to be an expert in was only a very small part of what they have actually done. When you are caught at once, it will be difficult for the recruiter or the hiring manager to believe any other claims you make about your experience. Another reason is that you are not prepared. Coming to an interview with no knowledge of the company will certainly be detrimental to your chances. Make sure you do your homework before an interview. I won't spend too much time on interview preparation here, as this is covered in a lot of other products on my website, www.interview-coach.co.uk. However, not knowing much about the company you are interviewing with and not asking good questions can definitely cost you a job offer. I do remember speaking to one of the managers I was recruiting for, who was very unimpressed with a candidate for a senior position, as she didn't ask any questions at the end of the interview. This candidate might have known everything about the company, but she didn't know anything about this manager's expectations of her on a day-to-day basis. This made him think that she was not motivated to do the job. Needless to say, this person didn't get hired. So make sure you research the company online, read some recent press releases, and most importantly, prepare answers to the most common interview questions and have someone give you a mock interview. The more prepared you are, the more employers will take you seriously. And reason number 3 is that you act disinterested or not enthusiastic enough. It is so important to be enthusiastic and positive, especially when it comes to a potential new job. Appearing disinterested and not motivated enough is really one of the biggest mistakes candidates can make in the interview. I can't tell you how many times in my recruitment career I've seen highly qualified candidates rejected after interview because they didn't seem passionate about the company or not interested enough. I also remember a number of occasions when 2 equally experienced candidates got through to the final interview stage, and the one who got the job was always the one who was the most enthusiastic and the most prepared. Every business wants to put their most enthusiastic people forward with important clients and customers, so acting the opposite will get you nowhere. Be enthusiastic and show it in your replies and body language. Have a good firm handshake. Another reason is that you don't have enough experience or it's not from a relevant industry. Managers don't have as much time as they used to train and mentor new employees. The more relevant experience you have, the more likely you are to hit the ground running without a lot of hand-holding. Also, at the moment, employers have a lot of candidates to choose from, so unless you fulfill 80–90% of the requirements, you might not want to bother applying. Every day I see the same candidates applying for almost every job we are advertising on our website. Even though with no experience in our industry, they would never be considered. You would also appear desperate if you apply for every job that gets posted by one company. I've touched upon this in my previous video, By focusing your efforts on applying for a smaller number of jobs for which you are well qualified for, will get you better results than applying for every job that is vaguely relevant to your background. Once you have been invited for an interview, the best way to show that you know what you're doing is to give the employer concrete examples of your experience in a given job duty, and I will talk more about it in another video. One of the biggest mistakes I see people making is that they can't or they didn't give examples of what they have done in previous jobs. Hiring managers want people who can prove that they will increase the organization's revenue, decrease the cost, or help it succeed in some way. One of the most detrimental mistakes candidates make is not providing specific examples of how they have added value in previous jobs. The more you can quantify your work, the better. It is therefore very important that you learn how to relate your applicable skills at the interview and to learn techniques to succeed in competency-based interviews. The next reason is that you used bad language. It's definitely tempting to tell anyone who would listen how you can't stand your boss or a company, but talking negatively about current or previous employers is one of the most detrimental mistakes a candidate can make. The next reason is that you've discussed salary at the wrong time. As a general rule of thumb, you should never bring up salary before the employer does. Doing so makes the employer think that you only care about the money involved, not about helping the employer succeed. It's of course understandable that you will want to earn more if you were to change jobs. But if a higher salary is your only motivation, you are not likely to impress the interviewer. If the topic does arise though, however, be honest about your salary history. Employers can verify your salary, so lying only makes you look bad. In my ebook, Land That Job, there is a whole chapter about how the salary game is played in today's market. So if you would like to learn how to negotiate the best possible salary, go to www.landthatjob.co.uk to find out more. My next reason is that you have a terrible reputation online or offline. So let's start with your reputation online. Social networking sites and online searches are the newest way that many employers are checking up on prospective hires. Every blog post, tweet, status updates leave a footprint online, whether you like it or not. With many potential employers researching you online, you need to make sure your online reputation is up to scratch. The golden rule is to build completely separate professional and personal online personas. Use one email address for your social activities, such as Facebook, and a totally separate one for your career-related activity on LinkedIn and so on. You might even maintain 2 separate Twitter accounts. If you have posted stuff online you would rather an employer didn't find, delete it if you can. As for your professional reputation offline, employers might take informal references on you from people you both know. And if more than one reference is not positive, there is no chance you could get a job with that company. It's always a good idea to leave a company on good terms. And my final reason is that you don't look the part. More than 50% of another person's perception of you is based on how you look, and therefore your appearance is crucial to making a good impression. So be conservative. Conservative is best for an interview, regardless of the dress code at the organization. Best to be plain and simple. And especially if you're applying for a £100,000 job, don't come in wearing a suit costing £50. Well-dressed and well-groomed candidates always make good impression. Whilst most candidates I have dealt with look very professional, there were several who clearly thought that what they wore didn't matter. It did. I remember one particular situation when I met in the reception a female candidate whom I have interviewed previously over the phone for a senior sales position. She sounded professional on the phone, and as it was the only woman in the interview process for this role, I desperately wanted her to do well in the interview. Sadly, her chances were ruined by wearing wrong, too revealing clothes and overbearing perfume. So remember, wear minimal cologne or perfume, no visible body piercing, no chewing gum. Wear one ring and limited jewelry. Well-groomed hairstyle is important as well. A well-prepared, enthusiastic professional and honest candidate will more than likely get the job above anyone else. Do all you can to be the best in your interview. Do your research, prepare, don't take any chances, and the job will be yours. Thank you for listening, and I will see you on the next video.